Have you ever opened your eyes in the morning and felt like the world was just heavier? You get up, scroll through your phone, answer messages, even smile at people. On the outside, everything looks fine. But inside, there's a quiet heaviness, like someone turned the brightness down on your life. It's not the dramatic falling apart kind of sadness. It's subtle. A little less excitement for the things you used to love. A little more distance between you and the people around you. Waking up already tired before the day even starts. Here's the tricky part. When it's this quiet, it's easy to ignore. You tell yourself you're just stressed, or you'll snap out of it. But the longer you brush it off, the easier it is to get caught in a cycle that slowly steals your energy, your joy, and your connection to yourself. The good news? Noticing these small signs early can help you break that cycle before it gets deeper. Today we're going to talk about the hidden signs, how they show up, what they mean, and what you can do to start feeling lighter again. So let's start with the first one. When sadness isn't the whole story. The hidden face of depression. When most people picture depression, they imagine someone curled up in bed, tears streaming down their face, unable to move or speak. And yes, sometimes it looks like that. But other times, it doesn't. Depression can be much quieter, slipping into your life in ways that don't match the movie version you've been taught to recognize. It might look like someone who's still showing up for work every day, still posting happy pictures online, still laughing at the right moments. From the outside, they seem fine. Inside, though, there's a low, steady hum of emptiness, like a vital wire inside has been unplugged. Take Lisa, for example. She's 29, with a good job, a supportive partner, and friends who adore her. But at night, when the world gets quiet, she sits alone, feeling like she's watching her own life from a distance. No tears, no dramatic breakdowns, just a dull ache in her chest, a tightness in her shoulders, and a sense that joy has been slipping further away. And here's why this version of depression is so easy to miss. It doesn't demand your attention. There's no obvious crisis. You tell yourself you're just tired, or in a weird mood, or that everyone feels this way sometimes. You keep going, you keep performing, you keep wearing the smile. But depression doesn't have to be loud to be real. Quiet depression can still drain your energy, make it harder to connect with people you love, and blur the way you see the future. It's like running a marathon every day without realizing you've been carrying a backpack full of bricks. Recognizing this hidden face matters because it gives you permission to take action sooner, before the weight gets heavier. It also opens the door to more compassion. That friend who seems a little distant lately might not be losing interest in you. They might be fighting an invisible battle. And if that friend is you, it's okay to admit it. You don't have to hit rock bottom before you deserve help. The way depression shows up can shift from person to person, and even from season to season in your own life. Some days it's heavy sadness. Other days it's numbness. Sometimes it's just a faint sense that something's off. All of these are valid. All of them deserve care. So if you've been feeling a little off lately, it might be worth pausing and listening. Ask yourself, when was the last time I truly felt excited about something? When was the last time I woke up feeling ready for the day? If those moments feel far away, it's not about blaming yourself. It's about gently acknowledging that something inside you might need attention. Your body speaks, the aches and pains you can't explain. Sometimes your body starts talking before your mind is ready to listen. We tend to think of depression as something that lives entirely in our emotions: sadness, irritability, loss of motivation. But the truth is, it can live in your muscles, your joints, even deep in your stomach. Alex, 32, knows this all too well. He spends most of his days at a desk. For months, his lower back has ached, a deep, nagging pain that makes him shift in his chair every few minutes. Some days it's just an uncomfortable throb. Other days, it's sharp enough to make him wince. He's tried stretching, swapped out his office chair, even invested in an expensive ergonomic setup. Nothing changes. Finally, he gets checked out. The scans are clear, his blood work is fine. The doctor can't find a physical cause. So Alex shrugs it off, tells himself he's just getting older, and goes back to pushing through the pain. What Alex doesn't realize is that depression and chronic stress can change how the body works. Stress chemicals tighten muscles like a coiled spring. They can turn up your body's pain dial, making everyday aches feel sharper. Your brain, exhausted from emotional strain, can process those pain signals differently, almost amplifying them. For some people, it's constant headaches that painkillers barely touch. For others, it's stiffness in the neck and shoulders or stomach cramps that flare up during stressful weeks. The tricky part is that when pain feels physical, we usually treat it as purely physical. We look for ergonomic fixes, new workouts, better pillows. We try pain medication, massages, heating pads. But if the cause is partly emotional, those solutions can only do so much. That's why it's important to remember, unexplained pain is real. It's not all in your head. But sometimes it's also your body's way of waving a quiet red flag, telling you something deeper is out of balance. If you've been dealing with persistent pain for weeks or months without a clear reason, it might be worth asking not only, what's wrong with my body, but also, how have I been feeling lately? The takeaway here is to treat yourself as a whole person, not a collection of separate parts. By all means, get medical checks to rule out serious issues, but also the memory fog, when your mind feels like a broken calendar. We all forget things sometimes. A grocery item, a password, where we left our keys. But when depression starts to creep in, forgetfulness can become a constant. And it's more than just those everyday slips. It's like your brain is covered in a thin layer of fog, making it harder to grab onto details. Sophie, 27, knows this feeling too well. She used to be the organized one in her group. Friends counted on her to plan trips, remember birthdays, and send reminders for big events. Lately, though, she's been missing important dates. She forgot her best friend's birthday for the second year in a row. She's missed project deadlines, even with multiple reminders on her phone. Sometimes she walks into a room and stands there, completely blank on why she came in. When her friends tease her for being scatterbrained, she laughs it off. But inside, she feels frustrated and embarrassed. She starts to wonder if she's just not as sharp as she used to be. The truth is, depression can change the way your brain handles information. Constant emotional strain can overload your mental desk space. Instead of focusing on what's in front of you, your brain is busy juggling worries, stress, and self-doubt in the background. It's like trying to work while a dozen browser tabs keep flashing for your attention. This mental overload makes it harder to store short-term memories, recall conversations, or keep track of simple tasks. And when you forget something important, the guilt or shame can kick in, fueling more stress, which makes the fog even thicker. It becomes a frustrating cycle. Forget, feel bad, stress, forget again. A lot of people make the mistake of blaming themselves. They think they're lazy, careless, or losing intelligence. But this isn't about being lazy. It's about your brain running on low battery while trying to do too much at once. So what can help? Start by being kind to yourself. Treat forgetfulness as a signal, not a flaw. Use tools to lighten a load. Write things down immediately. Set 2 reminders instead of 1. Or break big tasks into small, clear steps. Even something as simple as a sticky note on your laptop can save you from the frustration of a missed detail. More importantly, address the emotional side. Small changes, like talking to a friend, taking a short walk, or seeking professional support, can slowly lift that mental fog. And when it does, you might be surprised by how quickly your clarity returns. Because the fog doesn't just live in your thoughts, it can even affect the way you see the world around you. In the next section, we'll talk about a surprising way depression can change your literal vision, and why the world might look a little grayer than it used to. Seeing life in gray, how depression changes your vision. When we think about depression, we usually focus on how it feels, not how it looks. But for some people, depression doesn't just affect mood. It can quietly change the way they literally see the world. Michael, 30, always started his mornings with coffee in his favorite bright red mug. It was his small daily ritual, something that felt warm and familiar. One morning, he noticed the mug didn't seem as bright. The trees outside his window looked dull, like they'd been washed in pale light. He cleaned his glasses, rubbed his eyes, but nothing changed. It wasn't that he was going blind. His eyes worked fine. It was the way his brain was processing what he saw that had shifted. Depression can sometimes turn down the, quote, saturation, unquote, of your surroundings. Imagine life as a vivid photograph, then slowly sliding the color down until everything feels muted. Researchers have found that mood changes can affect the brain's ability to distinguish contrast and brightness, making the world appear flatter or grayer. You might not even notice it happening at first. You just feel like your environment has lost some of its spark. The tricky part is that we often look for external reasons. Maybe the weather's been gloomy, maybe our lighting is bad, maybe we've been staring at screens too much, and sure, those things can play a role. But if the world has been looking dull for weeks or months, it might be a signal from your mental health, not just your eyes. When your visual world feels muted, it can feed into emotional numbness. You feel less inspired to go outside, less excited by the things you see, which can reinforce the sense of disconnection that depression brings. It's like your mind is quietly pulling you away from stimulation, wrapping you in a softer but lonelier version of reality. If this sounds familiar, the first step is to rule out physical causes. Get your eyes checked to make sure nothing medical is going on. If everything is clear and you've been feeling low, consider this a gentle nudge to look at your emotional well-being. The good news is that just as mood can dim your vision, healing can bring the color back. People often notice that as they start to recover, the greens of the trees look richer, the sky feels bluer, and even small objects in their homes seem more vivid. It's a reminder that our senses and our emotions are deeply connected. And while vision changes can be subtle, another hidden sign of depression can be much harder to miss: how it disrupts your sleep. In the next section, we'll explore the, quote, sleep spiral, and why depression can make you sleep far too much, or hardly at all. The sleep spiral, too much or too little rest. Sleep is meant to be the body's natural reset, a place where your mind unwinds, your body repairs itself, and you wake feeling refreshed. But when depression gets involved, that rhythm can twist into something unrecognizable. For some, it means lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling while thoughts circle endlessly. For others, it's sleeping long hours, only to wake up feeling just as tired as when they went to bed. Sarah, 26, knows both sides of this spiral. During the week, she pushes herself through long, draining workdays, telling herself she'll catch up on sleep over the weekend. But Sunday comes, and even after sleeping until noon, she still feels like she could crawl back into bed. Her friend Alex has the opposite problem. He struggles to sleep more than 4 hours a night. He blames stress, but no matter how exhausted he feels, his mind won't shut off when the lights go out. Depression can quietly disrupt the body's internal clock, the circadian rhythm that tells you when to feel awake and when to feel sleepy. It can also affect the quality of sleep, especially the deep restorative stages that help regulate mood. That means you can be in bed for 8, 10, or even 12 hours and still wake up feeling drained because your brain never fully recharged. The dangerous part is how this becomes a loop. Poor sleep makes mood worse, and low mood makes it harder to get good sleep. Over time, that cycle can sap your energy, cloud your thinking, and deepen feelings of hopelessness. Many people make the mistake of blaming themselves. They think they're lazy for sleeping too much, or undisciplined for staying up too late. But these patterns are often symptoms of depression, not signs of weakness. When your brain is weighed down, it's harder to switch between activity and rest in a healthy way. If you recognize yourself in this spiral, the first step is to observe without judgment. Notice how you feel after different amounts of sleep, not just how many hours you're in bed. Try setting a consistent wake-up time, even on weekends, and build a short wind-down routine at night. Dim the lights, put away screens, and give your mind cues that it's safe to rest. If you find yourself oversleeping, try stepping outside for 10 minutes of daylight in the morning. Natural light can help reset your body's clock. The goal isn't to force yourself into a perfect schedule overnight, but to gently guide your body and mind back toward balance. When your sleep starts to steady, your mood often follows. But depression doesn't just affect how you rest. It can also touch one of the most intimate parts of your life, your desire for closeness and connection. In the next section, we'll talk about how depression can quietly dim that spark and why it's not lost intimacy when desire disappears. When we talk about depression, we often focus on fatigue, sadness, or the loss of motivation. But there's another change that many people don't talk about, and it can feel just as heavy: the fading of intimacy. And this isn't only about sex. It's about that spark of closeness, the instinct to reach for someone's hand, to lean into their hug. Their relationship has always been warm, full of small touches and shared laughter. But lately, something feels different. Even when they're sitting together on the couch, he feels a quiet distance. Physical closeness doesn't feel natural. It feels like one more thing on his to-do list. He still loves his partner deeply, but the emotional weight he's been carrying has dulled that drive for connection. Depression can lower desire for many reasons. It can drain energy, create emotional numbness, and make it harder to enjoy activities that once felt good. Hormone changes linked to mood shifts can also affect arousal, and in some cases, the side effects of medication play a role. All of this can make intimacy feel like climbing a hill you don't have the strength for. One of the biggest misunderstandings is taking this as a sign that the relationship is failing. People may think, "I must not be attracted to them anymore," or "we've lost what we had." That belief can lead to guilt, tension, and unnecessary conflict, especially if both partners are left guessing. Here's the truth. Losing desire during depression isn't a sign that love has disappeared. It's your mind and body going into self-preservation mode, conserving energy and muting stimulation to protect you when you're running low. It's a response to stress and emotional strain, not a reflection of your worth or your partner's. If this sounds familiar, start with honesty. You don't need to have all the answers. Just letting your partner know it's not about them can ease the pressure. You might say something like, "I love you, but my energy's been low lately. It's not about you. I want us to stay close while I work through this." Focus on low-pressure forms of connection: cooking a meal together, going for a walk, holding hands without any expectations. Small, consistent acts of closeness can help keep the bond alive while you work on your emotional health. And if you suspect medication or hormonal changes might be part of the issue, talk with a healthcare provider about possible adjustments. The good news is that intimacy can return, often stronger, once your emotional energy begins to recover. Many couples find that going through this together actually deepens their trust and understanding. And just as depression can quietly touch the heart of your relationships, it can also leave fingerprints on your physical health in ways you might not expect. In the next section, we'll explore how depression can worsen existing health conditions and even increase your risk for new ones without you realizing it's connected. More than mental, when depression worsens other health issues, we often think of depression as something that lives only in the mind, a tangle of thoughts and emotions that weighs us down. But the truth is, depression doesn't respect those boundaries. It can reach deep into the body, making existing health problems worse and quietly raising the risk of new ones. John, 36, considered himself pretty healthy. Apart from mild arthritis that flared up once in a while, he rarely got sick. But after a painful breakup, he sank into a low mood that lasted for months. That's when he started noticing changes. His arthritis flared more often, his colds lingered longer, and simple tasks left him feeling drained. On paper, his test results looked fine, but day to day, his body told a different story. This isn't just bad luck. Depression can set off a chain reaction in the body. When you're under constant emotional strain, stress hormones like cortisol stay elevated. Over time, that can weaken your immune system, slow your healing, and increase inflammation. If you already have a condition like arthritis, asthma, or heart problems, depression can make symptoms more intense. And if you don't, the extra strain on your body can raise your risk of developing them down the line. The tricky part is that many people treat these physical problems as separate from their mental health. They might go to one doctor for their joints, another for their heart, and never mention the emotional weight they're carrying. That silence means the root connection is often missed, and they're left treating symptoms instead of the whole picture. A common mistake is thinking of mental and physical health as two separate worlds. In reality, they're in constant conversation. Your mind influences your body, and your body influences your mind, sometimes in ways that are hard to see until they've built up over time. So what can you do? First, be open with your healthcare providers. When you describe your physical symptoms, also mention any changes in your mood, energy, or stress levels. Second, don't wait for things to get bad enough before seeking help. Early support can prevent small problems from becoming chronic ones. And remember, tending to your emotional well-being isn't a luxury. It's an essential part of keeping your whole self healthy. The good news is that the connection works both ways. As people start caring for their mental health through therapy, lifestyle changes, or simply reducing daily stress, they often notice their physical health improving too. Colds become less frequent, pain eases, energy returns. It's proof. From gut to mood, the stomach-depression connection. When your stomach starts acting up, the first thing most of us do is think about food. Maybe it was last night's takeout, maybe dairy doesn't agree with you, maybe it's just stress from a busy week. But sometimes, your gut isn't reacting to what you ate, it's reacting to how you feel. Emma, 28, had never had major stomach problems, but over the past few months, she'd been dealing with bloating, cramping, and bouts of diarrhea, especially before big meetings or social events. She cut out certain foods, tried herbal teas, even kept a food journal. Nothing seemed to work. What she didn't realize was that her stomach was reflecting the quiet emotional strain she'd been under. Your gut and your brain are in constant conversation through a network of nerves, hormones, and trillions of bacteria, often called the gut-brain axis. When you're struggling emotionally, your brain sends signals that can disrupt digestion, change the speed at which food moves through your system, and alter your gut bacteria. The result? Discomfort, irregularity, and sometimes pain that doesn't have an obvious, food-related cause. It works the other way, too. Problems in your gut can send stress signals back to your brain, which can affect your mood. This creates a feedback loop. Low mood disrupts digestion, and digestive trouble feeds low mood. The common mistake is treating stomach issues as purely physical. People change their diets over and over, take supplements, or avoid social situations to prevent discomfort, without ever considering that emotional health might be part of the picture. And while healthy eating matters, No diet alone can fix gut issues rooted in stress or depression. If you've noticed your stomach acting up during emotionally heavy times, start by paying attention to patterns. Keep a simple journal that tracks both what you eat and how you're feeling. You might see that certain flare-ups happen not after a specific food, but after a stressful day or a period of feeling low. Support your gut and your mood together. Eat regular, balanced meals. Stay hydrated. Move your body gently. Walking, stretching, or yoga can help ease both stress and digestion. And consider mindfulness or breathing exercises to calm your nervous system before meals. The hopeful news? Just as stress can upset your stomach, improving your mental health can bring it back into balance. Many people notice that as their mood lifts, their digestion improves, their energy returns, and food becomes a source of comfort and joy again. And that brings us to the end of our journey through the 8 hidden faces of depression. Now, let's tie it all together and talk about the small, kind steps you can take starting today to care for both your mind and body. We've just explored 8 hidden faces of depression, signs that don't always match the stereotype, but can quietly shape how you feel, think, and live. From aches and pains to memory fog, muted colors, restless nights, fading intimacy, changes in physical health, and even the way your stomach reacts, depression can touch every corner of your life. If you've recognized yourself in any of these, remember, these aren't signs of weakness. They're signals, your mind and body's way of asking for care. And awareness is the first step. The moment you notice and name what's happening, you open the door to healing. You don't have to fix everything overnight. Maybe your next step is telling a friend, calling your doctor, journaling your feelings, or simply giving yourself permission to rest. Small steps count. They build. And if you're struggling right now, please know help is out there. In the US, you can call or text 988 for free confidential support 24/7. If this video spoke to you, join me in the next one, where we'll explore 5 small daily habits to help your brain recover from stress and burnout. Practical tools you can start today, no matter where you are in your journey. Thank you for staying until the end of today's video. If you're here, it means you care about your mental health, and that's already a brave step. Life in your 20s, 30s, or 40s can feel overwhelming. Work stress, family pressures, and the constant comparisons of social media. Depression hides behind all of that, making you feel alone. But you are not alone. This channel exists to remind you that your feelings are real and your voice matters. Each week, I'll share tools and honest conversations to help you heal. If today's video spoke to you, please hit like. It helps more people find these messages. Share this video with someone who might need it, and subscribe so you won't miss the next upload.